Welcome to Leavenworth County Commission. We're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Mr. Culver's, we'll have you open us with the silent prayer.
Mr. Chairman, could I have a moment of silent prayer this morning, please? Thank you very much.
All right. Mr. Reed is present. And we'll take the roll call. Mr. Reed. Here. Mr. Culverson.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
I'm here. I believe Commissioner Dove is running a little late. He'll be here hopefully shortly. So we will now move on to the public comment portion. And I did have one early request. Linda Sturgeon, come on up. You'll be first. That's the advantage of calling in ahead. You get to go first. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Last Monday I sent each of you an email about my concerns about the Project Blue Stem that Cloverleaf Infrastructure has proposed. In that email, I told you that I tried to learn as much about the project as I could. I went to the meeting that they had in Tonganoxie, my husband and I did, and we spent some time there talking to different people and asking them some pretty pointed questions about what was going on. One of the things that we figured out, is we didn't have the expertise to know what was fact and what was fiction and what was hype and what was fear-mongering. We know that when we ask questions of the people of Cloverleaf, we got usually one of two answers. The first answer was, I don't know, you go have to talk to so-and-so over there, that's their area of expertise. So we weave through the crowd and try to get to that person. The other thing they always said is, we'll do whatever Leavenworth County requires. My concern is, do we know what we need to require? Do we have the expertise to figure that out? I know that I've spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out what the issues are, and I don't have the background to figure that out. And I question whether anybody else does in Leavenworth County, and that we need to go get some experts to help us figure out what questions to ask, what answers to demand of Cloverleaf, and maybe more importantly, what is it that we don't know that we don't know? Because that's always the big issue when you're making any kind of decision. In that email, I reminded you that your fiduciary responsibility is to the people of Leavenworth County. I also did some digging on Cloverleaf. They've only been in business for 2 years, and they are backed by 2 private equity firms that gave them $300 million to make these deals work. So their goal is to get in and out as cheaply as possible and as quickly as possible. They don't care what happens long term in Leavenworth County, but we need to worry about that. We need to find out what's going to happen if they either don't keep up to their promises or if something goes south that we haven't anticipated. And maybe they haven't anticipated, but still, we're going to be left with the mess to clean up. They did a pretty slick sales process in Leavenworth County. They had people all dressed up in their matching shirts, and they talked about all the things that were good for the project. My final topic today I did not address in my email, and that is, what's going on? Where are we on this process? What are the next steps? Who gets to decide what and when? I talked to a member of the Planning Commission, and he seemed clueless on what was going on. He didn't know if it would go before him, the Planning Commission, or whether it would stop here. He also reminded me that you all had the ability to do whatever you wanted to, regardless of what the Planning Commission did, which is what happened with the sand pit, as I understand it. The citizens of Tonganoxie, and especially those in Tonganoxie, are starving for factual information. They're starving to know what is going on, when it's going to happen, and how it's going to work, and who's going to make the decision. We've known from things in the past that sometimes there is little concern for the local community and more concerned about what's politically expedient. I hope that you will keep the concerns of the people who pledge to support you in mind. And I hope that we will find out what happened to the $450,000 that apparently Cloverleaf pledged to help you find out more information. We want to know where that money is. Have you found somebody? Have you not found somebody? Are you looking for anybody? And we would like to know what that report says. Lastly, I think more importantly, we need to not wait until we have some health issue that bubbles up from the kids in Tonganoxie who have spent years in the elementary and middle schools just a few miles downwind from the plant. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Public comment.
Judy Iva Smith, 905 Church, Tonganoxie. I heard a song and was so excited. It reminded me of another artist I love, Robert Cray. Well, guess what? It is fully artificial intelligence, AI music project, Eddie Dole. Yes, they gave a human name to a non-existing being. Let us remember that AI has no heart or soul. AI songs are created using data center learning models trained on vast catalogs of existing music, analyzing melodies, rhythms, lyrics, and models predict and generate new audio. What is missing? I'll list a few. Musicians, composers, vocalists, audio engineers, sound designers. Dig deeper, no instruments, no microphones, no recording studios, no live concerts, no talent, which affects all the companies that produce these. That is just a little of the obvious. The real and extraordinary loss is the creative talent and human collaboration to the process, and what kind of future that will provide for generations that only know this hollow existence. Chairman Mike touched on this in his meeting on 10/17. If you are not acknowledging this undeniable factor when placing your vote that is already taking place, then you can't see past the end of your nose. And someday, sooner than you think, that laptop might be doing your job and the chair will be empty. It makes life so much easier, instant gratification. It has a price, and it might be your job. Have you thought that this artificial workforce needs no paycheck, no health insurance, no income tax, no sales tax, no support to the community? What are the effects that this will have on our city, county, state, and country and their tax base? AI will tell you they are creating jobs. Yes, they are. To the extent they are dissolving them. In the example, a simple song takes 15 humans to produce it. AI is one. And that does not take into account the mechanical aspects it eliminates. I cannot justify their claims. You have a responsibility to humanity to realize that what you might allow and will can change livelihood forever. I can give you hundreds of jobs that have already been affected by this technology revolution. So forget the health concerns, the illness, and the many factors you've been introduced to about them. Forget the environmental concerns and how the bell, once it's rang, is forever heard. And just for one moment, think about this undeniable factor that is already happening to our society. You have projected financial benefits, numbers on paper. There is a much bigger picture here. And if money was the only issue, it would be easy. I believe that should be the least of your concerns. Yes, AI music projects are facing major lawsuits. Actually, isn't all of AI learning from us and how we perform our duties? I see a future full of lawsuits. They're throwing money at us like we have no moral compass. The real question is, do we? I am appalled by the fact that any of you would vote down an advisory vote. Your refusal, I consider, is a slap to every one of the constituents as long as it's fit at democracy. The general purpose is to allow government officials to gauge public opinion on certain policies and to encourage officials to listen to people who actually gave them the job and are paying their salary with our taxes. I heard in a meeting that leads to some unknown lawsuit. I beg to differ. Everything I found says ruling against an advisory vote, a county cannot be successfully sued as it is non-binding. If this is a real concern, put it on a regular ballot, which has legal and binding results. Let the chips fall where they will with the voters' voice. I have heard in a meeting that people will be led by falsehoods when voting. To disregard voters with a remark like this when holding an elected position is complete hypocrisy, and I will call it out. You are all representing different districts under one county's umbrella. Accusing one commissioner of creating division is beyond my comprehension. He has every right to his independent beliefs on any issue he supports for his district and the county. Just a reminder, all of these remarks are on tape. To the point the farmers use more water than data centers, please let me know when I can eat data, because I'm pretty sure that will solve the obesity epidemic we are experiencing. And I will assure you my homestead farming legacy would be proud I pointed this out. One commissioner stated she was not easily intimidated. You should all be very intimidated by the vast consequence of the Blue STEM proposal. And I must also state I belong to no hate group. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Open public comment. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Gretchen Meitler, and I am the owner and operator of a child care center just outside of town by where the data center is proposed, as well as one in town. My husband and I also own homes near the proposed site where our family members live, but most importantly, our two granddaughters, ages 2.5 and 2 months old. Every day, parents entrust me and my staff with what matters most to them, their children. They expect that they will leave their sons and daughters in our care and that we will do everything possible to protect their health, safety, and well-being. Today, I am asking you to do the same as you consider the proposed hyperscale data center. As adults, we often talk about economic development, tax incentives, and infrastructure, but children experience these decisions differently. They do not have a voice in this process. They depend on us to consider the long-term impacts on the environment in which they will grow up. Young children are more vulnerable than adults to environmental stressors. Their lungs, brains, and bodies are still developing. What may be considered as a minor impact for adults can have a greater effect on a child. I am concerned about several issues that deserve careful study before an approval is granted. First, there is the noise. Data centers operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The cooling systems and backup equipment can produce continuous low-frequency noise. Research has shown that chronic noise exposure can affect sleep, concentration, stress levels, and learning. Children need quiet environments to learn, play, and develop. Second is the air quality. Large data centers rely on backup diesel generators that are tested regularly to maintain and operate during power interruptions. Before this project moves forward, parents deserve to know what emissions may be released and what impact it could have on nearby families, schools, and child care facilities. Third is the water. We teach our children every day about conservation and stewardship of natural resources. If a facility will require significant water resources, we should fully understand the long-term impacts on local supplies before making decisions that could affect future generations. Fourth is the overall quality of life for our community. Families choose Leavenworth County because of its rural character, open spaces, and safe neighborhoods. These qualities contribute directly to the children's physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Once they are lost, they are difficult, if not impossible, to restore. I am not here this morning to oppose technology or economic development. I understand that growth is important, but growth must be responsible and it must be consistent with the health and welfare of the people who already live here. Before any vote is taken, I respectfully ask the county require independent studies addressing noise, air quality, water use, traffic, emergency response capabilities, and the potential health impacts on nearby residents, especially our children. The children in my care today will live with consequences of these decisions long after you all have left office, retired, or moved on to other places. They cannot stand at the podium and speak for themselves. So I am asking you to speak for the children just like I'm speaking to you on their behalf. Please proceed carefully, follow comprehensive plan, require independent studies, put the public health first, and make sure that any decision you make today leaves Leavenworth County healthier, safer place for the children who will inherit it tomorrow. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Closing public comment. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Tammy Patton. I live in Lansing. First, I wanted to thank you for letting me speak today. I want to say that when I first saw how AI could create these super cool photos of like me and my kids, I thought it was fun. It was kind of amazing. Until my kids educated me on how bad this was for the environment. You know, what I find funny is that if you ask AI if a mega data center is bad for you in the environment, it'll also tell you how bad it is. But here we are, everyone, trying to convince you on how bad this is for us. There are a couple topics that I want to cover today, and maybe you can give us some answers to. Do you remember when computers were so large that sometimes they took up an entire room, depending on what they were used for? And now they're so small that we can hold them in the palm of our hand. Or when memory drives were floppy disks, and now they're smaller than my fingertip. My question for you, number one, is what happens when this data center isn't needed anymore? Do you really think that in 20 years, when this tax abatement is over, and they're supposed to start paying taxes, that these buildings are actually going to still be needed? Who will pay to remove these buildings? Or will this infrastructure, almost the size of Tonganoxie, just remain an eyesore? Do you realize that the land that was used will not be returned back to farmland, and it may be uninhabitable? I know that there is some online backlash because we've been posting this 1,100 acre comparison that's been shown online instead of the 400 or 500 acres that they're saying that they're going to use to actually build this building. But if they're buying 1,100 acres, what regulations are in place to prevent them or the end user from building on the entire 1,100 acres or expanding in general? Why Tonganoxie? It's obvious that these residents don't want the data center in Tonganoxie. How about, please, I'm so sorry for saying this, but I just want to throw this out there. How about some places I found in Easton? Have you thought about what your neighbors would come up with? I found online listings that had expired or are currently online that go up to 700 acres. I think for those who are in Tonganoxie, we find it very special to us. I also found land in Leavenworth that had expired not too long ago that could be used. So these are other options. And don't get me wrong, I'm not for it being in those areas, and I'm sorry for those that I suggested it, but maybe if you think about it being in your backyard and you having to deal with your neighbors, that you might think a little bit differently about it. We have no clue who the end user for this data center is going to be. Will you 100% guarantee that the buyer will be required to follow every rule and regulation that you set forth? Everything is about supply and demand. Can you make promises to the community that their electric bills will not go up? Many cities have found that their bills have sometimes tripled. Virginia, the state of Virginia, for example, they have found this. Data centers are set to raise the price of our monthly electric bill thanks to deals between utility companies and big tech that force everyday people to pay the cost of the company's increased energy use. Researchers estimate U.S. consumers will pay billions of dollars to build the new power plants and infrastructure needed to serve big tech, as data energy use is tripled. So therefore, we're going to build it, and by the time the taxes come around for them to start paying, that building is not going to be in use anymore. I also have the source for that. I've gotten up here and spoke before on how surrounding home values will be affected by having this built next to them. What can you put in place to guarantee this will not affect their ability to move and sell their homes at today's market values? I'm at number 8. If this data center causes any issues with pollutants released in the air, or if it affects water sources, will you make Cloverleaf or the end user be responsible for cleaning up environmental issues? If Cloverleaf or the end user uses our clean drinking water, will you hold them responsible financially if they cause the water to dry up? Oh wait, I'm sorry, data centers can't produce more water. 7 out of 10 Americans do not want these data centers. This should come to a vote. Or please, extend the moratorium until we have more research. We want our voices heard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Additional public comment. Good morning, Jim.
Morning, John.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Carlson, Tonganoxie. Last week I spoke with you about the Leavenworth County Comprehensive Plan. Here it is. This is part of it. Today I ask you whether Leavenworth County will honor its promises it made to citizens when it adopted the 2024 Comprehensive Plan. The plan begins by recognizing that Kansas law requires county planning and land use regulations to, and I quote, promote the public health, safety, morals, comfort, convenience, prosperity, and general welfare while protecting the land, air, water, natural resources, and environment, conserving property values, and ensuring the efficient expenditure of public funds. The plan specifically cites KSA 19-2956 as a foundation for these objectives. The plan also relies on KSA 19-2958 and KSA 19-747, which provides for a comprehensive plan in the county's guide for coordinated development and is intended to serve as a basis for public action that promotes health, safety, and general welfare of the community. This means the plan is just not a vision document, it is a policy framework that you adopted to guide your decisions. The plan calls for decisions based on careful planning, comprehensive studies, protection of natural resources, coordinated infrastructure, preservation of rural character, and compatibility with land uses that emphasizes planning on information, not assumptions. The Blue Stem project is one of the largest industrial projects ever considered in the county of Leavenworth. This project could affect groundwater resources, electrical infrastructure, emergency responses, transportation systems, agricultural lands, nearby neighborhoods, schools, business, and property owners for generations. Before any consideration is given to this project, I respectfully ask the Commission to take the following actions that are truly consistent with the plan. And I've talked about these before, but I'll reiterate them. First, require an independent hydrogeological study evaluating long-term groundwater availability, aquifer impacts, drought resistance, and effects on private wells. Second, require an independent environmental and public health assessment addressing backup generator emissions, hazardous materials management, emergency response capabilities, operational noise, and other environmental impacts identified. Third, require an independent property value impact study prepared by qualified real estate professionals so homeowners understand the potential effects on their investments. Fourth, require a comprehensive fiscal and infrastructure analysis that identifies the cost of roads, bridges, utilities, fire protection, emergency medical services, law enforcement, and other public services, and clearly states who will pay for these services. Fifth, adopt enforceable operation standards, not voluntary commitments. Those standards should include continuous noise monitoring, groundwater monitoring, public reporting of compliance, emergency response planning, fiscal assurance for infrastructure and environmental obligations, and meaningful enforcement provisions if permit continues or conditions are violated. And finally, if these studies have not been completed, no further action should be considered until they are completed. The comprehensive plan says planning should be coordinated, thoughtful, and designed to protect the public welfare. If this does not encourage irreversible decisions based on incomplete information. Commissioners, each of you took an oath to faithfully discharge the duties of your office. One of these duties is to make decisions that are informed, transparent, and consistent with the policies the county has adopted. If the project truly satisfies the comprehensive plan, then independent studies should confirm that conclusion. If these studies reveal significant risk, the county should strengthen its regulations before moving forward. Your decision will shape Leavenworth County for decades. Future residents will not ask whether this project was quickly approved, or they will ask whether their elected officials exercised the care, diligence, and judgment necessary to protect their health, their property, their water, and the rural character that makes this county unique. I respectfully ask that you follow the comprehensive plan, assist on facts before making an irreversible decision, and place the protection of the citizens of Leavenworth County above any other considerations. Thank you for your time and your service.
Thank you.
Further public comment? Morning, Ted. You even got notes today.
I even got my notes today. Ted Grinder, Tonganoxie. I don't know if everybody remembers the fires we had here several years ago and the dust we had, and it all covered our crops and it hurt our yields. What the dust from this manufacture of this building will do basically the same thing. It will distribute more dust into the air, and it'll cover our crops, and we won't get as much yield. And your houses, you'll be cleaning your house a little bit more, all in Tongi and around. We need to think about that. Think about how that's going to affect your house, your kids, how they're going to breathe, what it's going to do to that. I know you don't have anything to do with the SB 98. You can't do anything about it. But if you can get them to amend it, that could be better to just do away with it. But if we could get that, because that's the only reason they're here. We are basically paying them to come. Yeah, they're going to give us millions of dollars. They're making billions from the tax deduction they're getting from the state. They will not lose any money on this, and we will lose money. If you remember listening to Richard Paz talk here the other day, it's a lose situation for us. We will not make any money on this. Actually, we're going to lose money. We're going to spend more on electricity, maybe even more for water. Who knows? It is not in our best interest to have this buildings built. And I'm thinking there's better things we can do with that ground. Let's, yes, a golf course does use water, but it also supplies oxygen. You could put houses on it, get the tax money off that, and in 20 years, those houses will still be there, and you'll still be collecting tax revenue. This data center will be gone in 20 years. Heck, Aaron, the manager, said, heck, in 5 years, it'll be the size of this podium. So in that 5 years, or let's give them 10 years. That building's going to destroy the ground. We'll never get it back. You can't have them get it back to where it was. You can put it in writing that they have to. Let's make sure if they do build it and they don't need it anymore, ironclad that they have to take it out. They have to pay it on their bill, not us. We shouldn't have to clean up their mess. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ted, I have a question. If the bees' habitat was disrupted near that area, how would that impact your sunflowers?
I think it would really impact the sunflowers. I think we wouldn't have as many bees there. You wouldn't have your local honey, not just from me. I mean, there's beekeepers all around that supply honey. But that would affect how they navigate. The noise from the data center, no animal wants to be around that. They can't fly where they want to go. They can't navigate where they need to be. The noise, even just from the EMFs coming off the power lines, will mess them up. And also, we need more research on it, but the farmers I've talked to that have power lines going over, it messes up their cattle. It messes up their food intake, their reproduction. We need more studies. We need to put this on hold until we know what will it do to us, to our animals.
And you have the largest tourist attraction in southern Leavenworth County at this time.
Yeah.
If this was to come in and disrupt that, that would be kind of a tragedy for southern Leavenworth County.
Yes, and I think for all Leavenworth County and Lawrence and Tongi, all the people, all the restaurants that come in, people come in, they go to the restaurants, they go to the gas stations, they go to the thrift store. We several years ago, we had this thrift store came to us and said that from year to year, the year before we had the sunflowers, and the year they actually took track of it, it was a 400% increase over the Labor Day weekend. It will drastically affect the taxes that the state gets, or the county gets, from people just not coming in. Why would you, people want to come out and they want to be in nature, quiet. It's a slice of heaven down there. And my wife and I have been really cherishing, we go out on the back porch and we watch the sunset every night and listen to the owls and the coyotes and crickets and everything else. And our whole farm is within, I'm going to say 5 miles, really 4, but 5 miles from where this is going to go. If there's a heat bubble, they say, that goes from 3 to, if they say 16 degrees higher, our corn right now that is tasseling, it will take a very big hit from the heat. It's already going to be 90 degrees out. It's jacked it up to 105. Corn shuts down. It doesn't put a ear on. That's why it will put us out of business. If it actually does what some research has said, raising our temperatures that much.
Thank you. Further public comment?
Good morning. I'm Dr. Joan Renand of Alexandria Township. Today I'm here to discuss animal cruelty, not culture. The lack of positive will, the preferential treatment of a client population in direct contradiction to their testimony to engage in illegal activity is discriminating against every large animal producer, every large animal owner, every livestock owner here in Leavenworth County, and is blatantly illegal. The single event of June 20th, 26, which I reported an animal abuse incident at Rancho El Diamante, who the board had just given a special use permit, in the face of testimony that they intended to engage in illegal activity, horse tripping and steer tailing, demonstrates the ignorance of the board with regards to the Kansas state laws, the rules and regulations of the Kansas Department of Agriculture, the USDA, the FDA, regarding the importation, use, care, and treatment of livestock. As a DVM, I am mandated to report animal abuse. I'm indemnified against legal action with good intent, and I am released of any confidentiality of the owner to describe what happened if I'm reporting it to a legislative body, a legal entity, a municipality, or a state or federal government. Mr. Harrow was given a temporary SUP last year to demonstrate his ability to comply with Kansas state laws after 21 years of 187 complaints to the board, to the Sheriff's Department, of problems with activities, after a 2009 cease and desist order, and after public source information, videos, professional private photos, and advertisements, copies of Kansas state statutes, PCRA rules and regulations submitted to this board documented years of illegal activity. Legal opinions were sought and confirmed that horse tripping and steer tailing violates Kansas animal cruelty statutes, especially because number one in the statute is the participants knowingly engage in activities which cause or will cause significant injury to the animals. Mr. Harrow's testimony was that he did not have an event last year. He chose not to have an event. That does not mean he gets an automatic renewal of his permit. We have no way to evaluate his performance to the expectations of the standards that were set by this board. And in fact, his testimony to the Kansas board, to the Leavenworth Zoning and Planning Board demonstrates his defiance of the law and his intent to immediately break the law. He proudly alliterated how he was instrumental in these shariatas coming to Kansas, how there are 8 shariatas now across the state of Kansas, all engaging in horse tripping and steer tailing, and that he was proud of that. He has stated repeatedly that he is not required to do Coggins exams or Coggins or secure a negative Coggins test on horses. Again, violating Kansas state law. The arrogance is breathtaking. I asked the board to end this cruel practices in Leavenworth County by denying an SUP to the RJ Farms until Mr. Harrow complies with all state, local, and federal laws and can demonstrate that he can comply. To vote for a postponement or delay of all SUPs supporting horse tripping and steer tailing until there is clarification, until the board understands the importance of the rules and regulations governing these events, and adopt the resolution of April 24th, 2025, prohibiting these activities in Kansas, and have a study session to include the Kansas Board of Veterinary Examiners, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Kansas Department of Agriculture, the USDA, and the FDA, so that the board is fully aware of what they are authorizing when they authorize SUPs involving livestock in Kansas. The single act of that gentleman last week, that cow or calf or steer was reportedly imported from Nebraska. Violates. There was no certificate of veterinary inspection. There was no Kansas state permit of import. There was no history of origin. There was no permanent USDA EID. There was no vaccination. There was no tuberculosis, brucellosis, or trichomoniasis test. Violations of numerous laws, and yet he maintains his SUP. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment? Good morning.
Thank you once again for the opportunity to speak with you. I'm Crystal Blackdeer, representing Leavenworth County Humane Society, which is at 100 West Gilman Road in Lansing, Kansas. I was a little bit surprised to see this permit come up again. I wasn't paying close enough attention. And I have signed up for the Planning Commission notifications, but I missed that one too. Otherwise, I would have spoken to you before. But I'm here now. Since there were no events last year, it's difficult to evaluate the compliance over the past year. But ideally, we would have seen code enforcement personnel being able to look at the things that were included in the SUP. We would ideally have been able to get input from the Sheriff's Office, although I did see the note from the Sheriff's Office asking to be notified of any planned public events at that location at least. I noticed in one place in the packet that it says that a veterinarian will be on property during events. I don't know if that's the intent in the SUP or if that got transposed from somewhere else, but that certainly would be the only way to actually verify compliance with the veterinary health standards. You got to have those certificates and know who sees them on imported animals. I'm particularly concerned. I'm sure Mr. McGaha has been following the progression of New World screwworm north into the United States. Already in Texas, already in Oklahoma. How much longer is it going to take? This isn't a fly that flies from Texas. This is a fly that has already infested an animal that is then trucked here. The only way to identify it is to see it. And probably the only person who's going to recognize it is someone familiar with the screwworm and familiar with those animals. It can even get into dogs and cats. The distinct thing about this screwworm or any maggot or this particular maggot is it's different from other maggots in that it feeds on live tissue. Most maggots feed on dead tissue. So when we import animals that have been infested with screwworm into our area, it not only harms those animals and those farms, but it harms the entire animal agriculture industry in Kansas. It's a big deal. Big deal. It's not to be played with. The sheriff in his email noted that there were complaints and concerns, so I assume these were from private events during the past year. And why would the sheriff office ask for notification of events if he didn't anticipate or have experience with issues in the past? I would ask at the very least that this board consider remanding this application back to the Planning Commission to clarify some of these issues and figure out who's going to actually oversee compliance. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Kristen. Thank you. Further public comment. Good morning.
Good morning, all. My name is Catherine Schwannison, and I'm proud of our county's rich history and current reputation. A week ago, I was on a flight coming back to Kansas from New York, and I was seated next to a French man who gleefully told me how excited he was to come to Kansas because of, quote, how nice and kind the people of Kansas are. I was touched to know that our state is known internationally for its kindness. Yet before us today, an issue threatens to destroy that very reputation. An animal abuse spectacle is requesting permission to perform blatant acts of abuse on our county lands. This spectacle does not and will not adhere to PRCA standards, which include a list of 60 rules to protect animals. For example, they will not have a veterinarian present, nor will they wrap horns on steers. By ignoring these rules and standards, this spectacle clearly engages in acts outlined as illegal by Kansas State Statute 21-6412, which also includes rules against horse tripping and bull tailing, which the spectacle is known to have. It is shocking that Leavenworth County is attempting to bypass our state laws. I urge the board to reject this special use permit and to instead work to maintain our great Kansas reputation of kindness, both towards people and animals. Thank you.
Thank you. Well stated. Further public comment.
Go ahead.
Let's have a public hearing.
Kansas kindness, and nobody can follow that. Like, that was amazing. My name is Sarah George, 532 Holiday Court. I'm coming before you regarding the special use permit. As a Latina myself, with background from South America, I believe it is possible for us to both cherish history and culture while also supporting humane ideas such as cruelty-free entertainment. I also reject the racist notion, and it is a blatantly racist notion, that Hispanic culture is okay with animal cruelty, because it's not. I am not. moving the needle for a healthy society means that we cannot quibble about the letter of the law, but we need to aim for what the spirit of the law is about animal cruelty. Does this commission have such a short memory that they don't remember that Michael Vick spent time in Leavenworth for his role in organized dogfighting? Unless the board is okay with animal cruelty couched as cultural practices, if so, are you going to approve bear baiting, bullfighting, dogfighting? And to which culture would you ascribe such practices? The spectacle before you has nothing to do with any accepted animal husbandry practices. It is solely animal suffering for profit. Actual cowboys in actual ranches must treat animals well because no owner permits their animals to arrive at an estate where they are not saleable. As a former ranch owner and state-approved abattoir owner, I know that all animals must be ambulatory and healthy for slaughter. Animals put through this spectacle and any such spectacles like this would unfortunately not be eligible. So therefore that makes them disposable, which is not a practice that any of us should look at animals as disposable. If this event is making around, maybe $50 a person, and only using a handful of cattle who are forced to endure more than 50 events per day, which is in violation of the Professional Cowboy Rodeo Association rules, which only allow 2 events per day per animal, then that would make this financially feasible for a person, but it is morally repugnant. And I urge you and the board to reject this notion that it is okay. Before you, somebody is using culture as a shield to avoid scrutiny of unethical practices. Let's be clear. Using culture to defend the profits of entertainment based on animal cruelty is itself an exploitation of culture. Thank you very much for your time.
Further public comment?
I really shouldn't follow either one of you. So, thank you. My name is Julie Downs, 4419 Southwest Stony Brook Drive, Topeka, Kansas. I'm here as a former neighbor of RJ Farms, and I'm here to educate citizens on what RJ Farms really is about. RJ Farms is a business. It's been a business operating for more than 20 years. I lived right by it. They have events and rodeos with ticket sales, ads, alcohol sales, VIP seating, huge stage, and a huge sound system. They have hundreds to thousands, up to 1,000 at least people who attend these events. So if you take $40, $50 admission, which one of the commissioners was charged when they didn't know who he was or asked for, you're talking $40,000, $50,000 an event, plus alcohol, plus other activities. But has that really been discussed? Have they been forthright about that over 20 years? I'm not personally aware of any taxes that they have paid. Now, I could be wrong. It'd be nice to ask them today before you approve this SUP. It'd be nice for the county to address because I brought that up. Do they have a business permit? Do they have a license to have alcohol sales? And you want to say, well, they will now after 20 years. So you ask, well, how have they operated if it's so bad? I think that question's been brought up before. So the county, for 20 years, we've been told the neighbors call the sheriff, and guess what the sheriff says? They come out. We don't do code enforcement. It has to be illegal before we can go on the property. So they never see them. They never see the activities. And how else do they operate? Well, they just don't get SUPs. And there were dozens of events the first 10 years. I can't even tell you how many. They might ask. If they don't, they'd have it anyway. Do you think they got shut down? No. Never. Or they claim they're family events or private events, even though we have proof there's been hundreds of people there. And you know what that does? Deputy turns away. In fact, they don't have any rules, or hardly any, if they say it's a family or private event. Okay? That's how they've operated. I'm not aware of one event, the animal cruelty that we're concerned about. 20 years ago, a National Human Rights Organization called me and told me they were worried about those events. And I brought that up to the county. They will come up here today and say they can't afford a vet. I just told you they're making tens of thousands of dollars an event. And they shouldn't be able to pick their vet, by the way. That's a conflict of interest. They're going to say that people don't like them, but I'm going to tell you they got shut down, and I don't know why. The county or they should address why they were shut down for 4 or 5 years around 2016. And guess what? All the complaints stopped. It's hard to argue that people don't like them. My husband served on the Planning and Zoning Committee. He was head of the BOCC committee, and he will be glad to come and tell you how some old lady wanted to sell quilts, and they brought her in to charge a road traffic fee. But I sent in this document with a huge trailer and tons of cars that I've complained about for years, and I'm not sure they've ever been asked for a road usage fee. The county, before allowing this SUP, the Planning and Zoning head called them a repeat offender and told me they were going to figure out what to do. We were shocked when we came back and were told everything was going to get wiped and they were going to get to apply for 15 events. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment. Are there anyone else want to speak? Mary, I couldn't see you. You're so short.
They kept me away from the dinner table. And I have 7 siblings. And I'm Mary Wood. I live at 471 Ashland, Lansing, Kansas. I am a lifetime resident of Lansing, Leavenworth County. And I have to sit here today, and I'm going to tell you what. There's been so many expertise, people that are specialists, are veterinarian from the area. The people that have spoken are so qualified to speak today. So I don't have anything prepared, but I'm here just to speak to you as a resident of this county. And I'm really appalled as I sit here and I look at each one of you to think that any one of you would vote for something as, the RJ Farms, and to give them the special SUPs. How would you like to be yourself tied up, your ankles tied together, your hair bounded, and then be dragged around an arena? Or your cat, your dog, anything. It's just like I just can't understand the hearts of each one of you. And I know each one of you pretty good. And I cannot believe that I'm standing here today, along with so many others, asking you to vote no and to hold off on the data center decision and the rodeo decision. I just can't believe that as Christians you are sitting here and thinking that is okay. But then I've also been told by one of the county commissioners that if you don't have an elected position or if you're not a business owner, that you really don't have much of a say. But we voted in each area to put you and helped many of you to get in these spots. And then to have you sit here and to think that what is going on right now is okay is really appalling. And so I think you need to look at your hearts and see what's going on. And what are you getting out of this? Animal cruelty. What are you getting out of this? Are we getting paybacks, something under the table to let this slide through? And with the data centers and thinking about human nature and our creatures that God created, what the heck are we doing here? What the heck are we doing here? So I'm not really prepared here to speak on, expertly on these topics, but I just can tell you that this is a bad look for Leavenworth County. And we will be watching to see each and every one of you that will vote to support these two items. And that'll make a difference. That will make a difference on where we go in the future. It's not a threat. It's just that we're telling you we are watching. And as you can see, many, many people have spoken here today, and they have said they do not want these things to take place. And I don't understand why it's not easy just to say, hey, the people of Leavenworth County have spoken, and this is where we need to stand. We need to back the people of our community and our county. Because I'm just not sure what you're getting out of it, if there's a payback or what. Why would you support these?
Hold it.
Okay.
I appreciate your comments, and I've supported the people in the audience, but don't say payback. I sit up here and I listen and I make as fair assessment as I can, and I don't mind you people getting upset about it because I totally agree with some of the things being said, and I've voted that way. But to accuse us all getting a payback, you only have morals, integrity. Anything else you don't have. So when you address us, you can say what you want, but I just ask that you say things that you know are factual. So if you've seen any of us getting a payback, show me.
Okay. Well, the deal is, Mike, and I know you personally, and I know you're...
I would like to...
But I just want to say, we don't understand it. We don't understand. We just don't understand.
What I don't understand, Mary, excuse me. What I don't understand, Mary, is that your remarks are toward we've already made a decision and we've done these and we've done these things, and that's not true. I'm not aware of any vote that has come across this panel that has said that yes, we agree with some things. That's why we're actually here, to get the information. Then we make a decision. But your remarks infer that we made that decision already.
I'm not saying you've made the decision already. I'm saying that be careful how you make your decisions, and we, as the people, really want to know individually your reasons why you're voting the way that you're voting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Further public comment.
Good morning. My name is Aurelio Haro, and I live on 136 Bowen Street in Linwood. I've been on Leavenworth County for 30 years, and I love my county. I owned that place for 28 years. And
what place?
It's 22,000 Contrail Road on RJ Farms. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say something. It's just, it's kind of funny that we talk about tripping. We went through this all the time. We don't trip horses. That we say it so many times. Okay, another thing is, so especially they say about tying ropes and stuff. So and then the American rodeo is going to end up because, I mean, you do bulldogging, you get off the horse and trip the bull. That doesn't hurt the bull. You do team roping, you get the bull by the head and tie their legs and stretch it out. That doesn't hurt the bull. You do bronco riding, you tie this thing on the back so they can buck so hard that they can trip and fall. I mean, you do the little calf roping where they kind of chase the little calf tied by their hands and legs and let it down. I mean, you do all that on the American Royal. We are not...
Sir. Let me just stop you for a second, okay? The American Royal is in Wyandotte County.
Okay. Rodeo. Sorry.
That's not Wyandotte.
Yeah, but on the county fair here on...
okay. All right, well, let's not pick individuals out here and say if one does it, it's okay, and another one does it, it's not okay.
No, I'm not picking it. It's in general. All Kansas City has rodeos. I mean, it's not just for specifically one. Yes. But what I'm getting at is I go to the Leavenworth County every year.
I think it's animal cruelty.
And you see, so that's not that's legal. I mean, we don't trip horses. We don't trip horses. And another thing, in all those accusations, there are false accusations. It hasn't been a record. The person that make all those calls is just only one person. And guess what? She sold her house for almost $1 million. So, and the thing she was saying before, oh, if you approve this permit, it's going to devaluate the properties. Well, guess what? She sold her house for $1 million.
Yes.
Wow, if somebody offered me that money, I'll sell my property like this.
Okay. We're not going to point out individuals.
I'm not going
to point. We're not going to. No.
He didn't say a name.
I didn't
He did not say anyone's name.
We're not going to point out individuals' financial situations
He did not
here.
say a single name.
I didn't say name.
We're not going to point out individuals' financial
You're my
situations.
student. He did not say a single name. You have a problem with the truth coming out.
That
You
is
speak
not.
the truth.
That's not what I'm saying.
So
we are
basically,
not gonna,
they're not equal rights here.
ladies and gentlemen,
They're not equal
we
rights.
are going to deal with the issue. We are not going to deal with individuals in this audience. You deal with the issue. We will, when we get to this this special use permit, we'll go more in detail. But when we're doing public comment, we're not going to point people out in the audience or highlight their financial dealings. We're just not going to do that.
You're limiting his
Okay.
free speech.
I am not limiting anybody's
That's
free
how I
speech.
see it. 100%.
Well, we're.
And
I want to. What's that?
And also the whole.
Just a moment. I want to hear what the counselor said.
I'd recommend a 5-minute recess so everybody can cool down.
Okay, we will take a 5-minute recess. And could we have an executive session to talk about this issue of what can be discussed?
Yes. Do you want it today?
I would like to have
I'm
that
gonna
right
go
now.
Do it. I'll draft a quick motion on our recess.
5-minute recess. We're back in session, and I'm going to recognize Commissioner Culberson.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board recess for a closed executive meeting to consult with our attorneys and discuss confidential matters related to the legal interests of the county, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship as justified by KSA 754319B2, and that the board resume open meeting at, how long do you need?
15 minutes.
10:30 a.m. this morning. President of the executive meeting will be Commissioners Mike Smith, Jeff Culberson, Vanessa Reed, Willie Dove, Mike Stephen, County Administrator Mark Lothery, County Councilor Misty Brown, and Assistant County Councilor Anne Marie Yatsula.
Second.
Motion and a second is a discussion. Discussion voting, Mr. Reed.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Go ahead.
Read us in. Board has returned to regular session at 10:30 a.m. No action was taken. No decisions were made. The subject was limited to matters related to specific non-elected personnel.
Welcome back. We'll continue. I want to just give a little brief summary of the law is you can say anything you want in public comment. You can direct any anger towards the commissioners that you wish, and feel free to do so. It's a little more gray when it has addressing members of the audience. So I would ask that you address the commissioners when you're speaking, and let's just keep it civil and act like ladies and gentlemen. So I don't know where we left off.
I believe Mr. Haro was finishing his public comment.
I already present myself, so my point of view was that everything that they've been accusing us is false, which I say it so many times, and the only way to find out is go. Do anybody that's accusing all this? Did they ever been to the parades on Kansas City? They ever been to the fair of Lawrence? They do a festival, a Hispanic festival that. They go and see the tradition. I bet nobody has done any of that. They just come and, they're animal abuse. Matter of fact, I just went to my vet yesterday and I made an appointment to have 2 of my horses go file their teeth. Cost me $220 a piece. You think if I mistreat animals, I'm going to go do that? I'm going to spend that much money on my horses, treat them right? I bet you. But if you don't own a horse, and if you ever had a horse, you don't know what's about, unless you actually are into the country and on the roadies. Which, I mean, another thing they were saying is about animal abuse. I go to the auctions all the time. They only give me a piece of paper. When I buy a cow, a horse, a sheep, a goat, chicken, they don't give me the paperwork where they brought it from. So what I'm trying to say is that everything, now another thing that a lady said here, oh, Mr. Harrow doesn't pay taxes. Oh, didn't you guys ask me for my taxes out here? Last year and this year? I mean, I got everything. I pay taxes all my life. You think if I wouldn't pay taxes, I would have been in Leavenworth County for 30 years? I mean, just common sense. It just, but that's what I'm saying. And this is a tradition that's been going on for hundreds of years. It's not just something that we made up. It's been going on for hundreds of years. It's like a Mexican restaurant. You go to Mexican restaurants, if you like Mexican food, the Mexican restaurant hasn't been here yesterday, right? Been here for long years. So I'm not asking for anything out of the normal. It's just something so that the Hispanic people have a place where they can go and have their tradition. That's all I'm asking for. And if I wouldn't be doing it right, I wouldn't follow all the regulations you guys put on RJ Farms, which there were extra regulations, and I already know why. But we complied with all those. And this came out because a judge actually said, go and fill out the application, and if you comply, get a permit. And that's why we're here. There's nothing out of the law that we're doing, because there's no record. The only record is one person. Thank you very much.
Further public comment. Tie goes to D.
Yeah,
Or
I'm
Davis.
not prepared, but I can't keep quiet on this one. D. Carlston, Cantrell Road. I'll start with tradition. I think all of you in a history class have realized over the years, and I don't care what nationality you are, but back in the day, things were tradition, but they've been deemed inhumane. Now, I think any rodeo is inhumane. I don't believe any animal in a rodeo is being treated well, and if there's money to be made, there's abuse being had. I'm one of those that if I see a dog in a locked car, I'm either going to smash the window or I'm calling the cops. I don't walk by and think, oh, well, somebody else is going to take care of it. Living in the county, I've observed a lot of abuse. I've seen horses in corrals 24 hours with nothing to eat, but weeds in the ground. It's questionable they have water. I've seen animals with no shelter, and this is 24/7 through winter, no windbreak, nothing. If you're not going to provide a windbreak for a horse or even cattle, I mean, look at how they hover under a tree when it's hot and sunny. They do want shade. And I do believe we overlook this. We drive by and we just hope that somebody takes care of it or that animal is not being harmed. I believe anything living should be taken care of like we would take care of our own children. And I do this with my animals. Ask my husband. But when I see them with no food, no shelter, no blankets, I've watched activities in a corral that's right on 2440, and I would say that those animals are being ridden harder than they have ever intended to be, and they're being caused pain. So I hope you realize, and I know one thing I want to point out to you is there's a lot of animal abuse. Puppy mills, I think CAFOs are animal abuse. So I do come from kind of a high standard. There's a lot of things being pushed down to the county level from the state, and I know that becomes a burden to you people. And there's not always a solution. They push a lot of unfunded stuff to you guys, and then here we are. Let's start with animal abuse at the county level. Let's address these issues and not give permits when it's happening. Make people toe the line. If they've been reported, is there follow-up reports? Do people go back and make sure they didn't just pour the water that day? What about 2 days from now? Is the water clean? And adequate shelter. I mean, a tarp to the fence is enough to windbreak for a horse. And the other thing I want to kind of get you to understand is, and I was looking for it earlier and I couldn't find it, so I'm going to paraphrase. A horse will know what you're thinking before you even give it the cue or a cluck. They are that spiritual and that in tune to their humans. And then I look at children who are abused and what that does to them. And then I look at these animals when they're abused. I mean, they're not considered a living being when they're standing next to you. They're there for a purpose. They're there to run after that calf. They're there to do this. They're there to do that. And then when they're done, they stick them out in the sun with no shelter. And I've observed it day after day after day after day. This isn't nationality, this is animal abuse that we have to consider. But let's bring it back to the county. Let's start making some rules and regs someplace. I'm just asking. The cases that come into the rescues, it's everywhere. Dogs, cats, horses. But these are living beings, and they are very spiritual in nature. And every animal has a personality. Hell, I got 4 chickens, and everyone's got a different personality. I take it right down to that because I just love them all. But we got to start someplace. And it's been too long in Kansas that Big Ag gets involved and they shut down any rule for any animal, and we have no control. We got to get some laws on this. Thank you.
Further public comment?
You gotta be quicker.
David Todd, 23209 Dempsey Road, Leavenworth, Kansas. As many of you know, I've been involved with the Fair Board here for 35 plus years in Leavenworth County, and I just wanted to put out there for the record, we've done a rodeo many times at the county fair, and we always follow all the guidelines, the PRCA standards, that's Pro Rodeo Cowboys Association standards, are what are used across the state, and I think pretty much across the United States as well. And we will not use a contractor unless they adhere to all those regulations, which include vet checks and all these things on their livestock. And I just want to get that out there that the county fair plays by all the rules that we're supposed to play by, and even err on the side of caution if we need to. We're not going to take any chances. So thank you.
So you do follow all the PCRA rules?
Yes, sir. Every one of them.
Morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Norma Brockenberry, and I am here because I hope that you guys could distinguish from facts to speculations. And there are all these people accusing us of animal cruelty. First of all, nobody has been there. They don't even know probably where this JR farm is at. Or if they do, they're never been inside, so I don't understand where this animal cruelty comes from. We love our animals. We take care of our animals. We take them to the vet. We have vets, not only one, but we have a couple of vets. If one is not available, we go ahead and take it to another vet. If they say that, there was animal cruelty at some other farm, we cannot control what happens in other people's farm. We cannot control what happens in other people's homes or farms. So they cannot, compare apples to apples because we are not there with them to know what they're doing. So if they are saying that we have animal cruelty, there has never been a report of it. And if there is, I want to see it because we have never had any animal cruelty. Why? Because we take care of our animals. The rodeos that we do, or the permit that we won, everybody's so focused on these rodeos. Rodeo might be one of the things that we want to do. Everybody keeps focusing that we're going to have this 15 rodeos and that we're going to, do all these things. That's not the case. We might have a rodeo, we might not. So the main thing that I want everybody to know is that we take care of our animals and there's no animal abuse. And anybody that says so, I want proof of it, because they're just saying that we are abusing our animals, and you cannot say something so without any evidence of it. Also, I had a lady here that she says that, the dog fights, how would you feel about dog fights? Dog fight has nothing to do with rodeos. It's a totally different thing. That is animal abuse, because one of the dogs will die, and you don't take your family to this dog fights. You would not take your children to these dog fights. And in rodeos, everybody comes together. It's a family. Everybody's welcome. Everybody just enjoys each other. You see children running around. You see children, knowing what a rodeo is, and also respect for the animals. Because that's one thing that we do have is respect and love for our animals. And of course, we have to take care of them. I mean, they're costly, as whoever has animals know. And I think that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. More public comment. Is there additional public comment? We can't do two. Sorry.
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah, at the end.
Sarah. Hey, Sarah. At the end, we can take it.
Yeah.
At the end of the meeting, there's another chance.
Yeah. Any more for now? So going once, going twice. Okay, we'll move on. Let's do administrative business, Mr. Lawfrey.
Commissioners, I don't really have any administrative business today, but I do think I wanted to point out something because, the nature of our meetings for the last 3 months or so, and including today, a lot of people ask why we are considering these things, and I want you to understand that in the United States of America, people have property rights, and that includes Leavenworth County. So, and we have laws that regulates certain events and things that happen in the county. And the people have the right to come in and ask, right? They have to go through the process. They have the right to ask. And then the board, at the end, makes the final decision. But we can't shut something down just because we agree or disagree with it. That's not government's role. We regulate things that happen. We adopt regulations. And if people agree to abide by those regulations, then it's government's role to allow that, not to shut down what happens in the Leavenworth County. I won't talk about the rest of the United States, but in Leavenworth County. So we're trying to get regulations in place to that everybody can accept and live with. Nobody on this board is going to support animal cruelty. They never have. But accusations are different than actual being convicted of something. And that's where you have a right in the United States, is to defend yourself. And if you have been accused of something, that doesn't mean you're guilty of something. So the data center thing, I understand everybody's emotion on it. Whether I'm for it or against it, those folks have a right to make the application. But we're in a moratorium right now. There is no application before the board. You haven't considered anything, and you won't probably until the end of this year. It'd be my guess that the earliest would be November after the moratorium is over. But those folks have the right to come forward and ask to use their property in the way they want to use that property. You have other things on the agenda today that are similar. People have rights. The Board of County Commissioners has to honor those rights, and that's the way it is. And folks, it's not because we are against you. It's not because we're for you. It's because we're trying to do what legally the county is required to do. And I appreciate all the comments that you all make. We listen. We write them down. If something comes up that's new, I try and go to look into it to make sure that we haven't missed anything. We respect all of that. But it's, again, the folks have rights. We have to allow them to go through the process. That's all it is. Thank you.
So, administrative business, Commissioner Reed.
I would just like to comment, I have a view from up here. And what Mark just said, 100% true. The majority of the room did not support it. And I think that is just utterly disgusting. And that's all I'll say right now.
Mr. Culberson,
I was going to change the subject. So I've got some complaints yesterday about parking last couple of days or last week, and it always happens, at the end of the month. If you come in to get your tags, everybody waits till the last day, so it's hard to find parking. And I get it, it's frustrating. We don't have enough parking around the courthouse, really. We've been trying to acquire lots across the street and add parking. That's a slow process. But everybody, I think, doesn't understand why they can't park right next to the courthouse. The Oklahoma City bombing created a whole new protocol for public parking. You don't want the public parking right up next to a public building. If you didn't watch the Oklahoma City bombing, then you probably don't understand what I'm talking about. But that's why the public does not park right up against the courthouse. It's that simple. So yeah, it sucks. You got to walk further, but it's protocol. That's why. I just want to bring that up because a lot of people don't understand.
Now, the county commissioners do park up there, but I guess we're expendable and they take us out.
Yeah. And anybody can have my parking spot anytime they want. It's the furthest one from the courthouse. So if I'm not here, help yourself.
One other thing to follow up on that, Commissioner. Right now, you don't want to park next to the courthouse because a piece of it literally may
fall on
your
you.
car.
Yeah.
Which is why the orange fence is up.
Yeah. In our case, it's a liability issue. If you park next to this courthouse, you're going to get a chunk of concrete.
Mr. Smith.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Jeff. Just one thing. Yesterday, I had the privilege of representing the county, the International Military's Officers Association. You know, it's military officers from all over the country, and we met down at the riverfront. And it's all, you know, being an Army brat, being lived all over this world when I was a young man. I always find after I give my presentation, it's always so interesting because I learn something every time about how other countries do things so different on issues that we just take for granted. So anyway, I enjoyed doing it yesterday, and I hope whoever comes next year will take my place for it. That's all I have, Mike.
Okay. Just a couple comments. Absolutely. Property rights are very important. That's in the Constitution. We have property rights, 100%. But the Constitution also has a takings clause. If somebody does something that interferes with your property rights and takes your value away from your property, then, especially if it's a government entity, they have to be compensated for that taking. That's in the Constitution. That's the issues that we talk about when we deal with land use and we deal with property rights. We have a wonderful setting at a location. If you look up Euclidean zoning, wonderful setting, people are building subdivisions, wonderful houses, and suddenly a slaughterhouse comes in and locates next to them. Do those property owners have rights? Are their values going to be diminished? Yes, they have rights. So property rights are balanced. They're balanced on a continuum because it's what the Constitution protects us each from. We all have our property rights, but we also have the right not to have our property rights interfered with by others. So I would say that. I just have a couple comments also on the, been keeping notes the last few weeks on some of the issues related to the data centers and you know, some of the things are said that we're not open for business and these kind of comments. But I want to say, in Tonganoxie, we have the largest private investment in the history of Leavenworth County in Hill's Pet Nutrition. It comes, and what do? They have a tangible product that they make. They make pet food. They've been a good neighbor to our community. It's provided high-paying jobs, although not that many jobs, but high-paying jobs. It fits in with the tradition of having an agricultural corridor in that area. That's what people kind of thought that County Road 1 was going to develop into an agricultural corridor. Residents have kind of felt like that they're blindsided by what's happened. We didn't realize what was coming. And I think what says it all is the representative of Cloverleaf when he said that if there were not incentives contained in Senate Bill 98, the legislature passed last year, they wouldn't even consider coming to Tonganoxie or to Kansas. So, folks, we've been blindsided by what's happened on other levels of government. And we're not dealing with just a private company coming into our community and it's going to come and build things or make things. We're talking about an industry that's coming that really doesn't do anything tangible for our community. There's nothing tangible there, and they're saying themselves they wouldn't come if it wasn't for the tax incentives. So that's not true with other businesses. So I have 10 other things, but I'm not going to go through them. But I think that's the bottom line, and I appreciate y'all being here and saying your piece. Mr. Duff.
No comment.
All right, we will move on now to the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second. The motion is second. Is there discussion? No discussion. Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Formal board action. Consider a motion to approve board order 2026-8, transferring funds to the Register of Deeds Tech Fund to the Board of County Commissioners Equipment Reserve Fund in the amount of $55,998 to the County Appraiser's Eagle View Aerial Photography Contract. Welcome.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioners. This is a request for your action transfer funds out of my Rod Tech Fund and into your equipment reserve. This was part of my commitment to the Appraiser's Office on their annual contract for aerial photography. And it helps to lower the general fund spending out of the Appraiser's Office. I'll stand for any questions.
Mr. Lawford.
I really don't have anything to add. I think what Register of Deeds said is accurate, and this is not the first time she has transferred money to the general fund, so I think it's a good idea.
It's been a big help, too. I appreciate when you come up and do things go. There's always something that needs to be paid for, so I appreciate, especially on things like this. I have no question.
Okay, Commissioner Reed? Mr. Culberson?
No, other than, do you guys know what this is, this aerial photography?
Yeah.
This is like pictometry.
Yep.
There used to be only one company 20 years ago that did this type of aerial photography, but it's oblique photography that looks at every property from every angle. So this cost about $300,000 or $400,000 when I was still in GIS.
It did, yeah.
So now it's down to $55,000. That's pretty crazy. But this tool will allow you to have less employees because they can do work with this photography that would have took field work to do before.
You know, Jeff, too, we used to have to try to get the cities to come in together, so we all pay it.
Yeah,
it was
we
so
all shared.
Always so expensive, so you're absolutely right.
Yeah. That's all I got.
No, I don't have anything. I like it.
I don't know anything.
The board really appreciate Terry Lewis you coming forth and making this this contribution to the general fund. I just want to thank you.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I started with you.
Can I still speak?
Yes.
Is that? I understand I passed originally.
Okay, go ahead.
Just to comment on Culbertson's comments. Eagle View, from what I understand, heavily relies on AI. That's my whole comment. That's
I don't think anybody's opposed to AI.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve Board Order 2026-8, transferring funds from the Register of Deeds Tech Fund to the Board of County Commissioners Equipment Reserve Fund in the amount of $55,998 for the County Appraiser's Eagle View Aerial Photography Contract.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Further discussion? Mr. Reed?
No, thank you.
Culberson?
Aye.
Well, any further
No,
discussion?
I am.
Okay. So voting, Commissioner Reed?
Aye.
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 Aye. All right.
Thanks, Terry Love.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Resolution 2026-12, a rezone request from 5 to 2.5.
Morning, John.
Resolution 2026-12 is a 58-acre rezone from R5 to R2.5, generally located at the corner of Springdale Road and 187th Street. The future land use plan calls this out as 2.5 acres. So it did go through the Planning Commission, and they found 7-0 to approve and recommend approval to the board. with that, I'd answer any questions you may have.
All the factors were met too, weren't they, John? That's what it looks like. I didn't see any I saw some conditions on it, but nothing that stood out.
No. Yeah, there's no monumental conditions on this.
Okay.
Any additional questions from the board? So we're ready for a motion.
Okay, consider a motion finding that the rezoning request complies with the code factors and move to adopt resolution 2026-12 and approve the rezoning as outlined in case DEV-26-068 based on the recommendation of the Planning Commission and the findings set forth in the staff report.
So motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? No further discussion, voting, Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
5-0, all right. Resolution 2026-11, request for a special use permit from RJ Farms.
Resolution 2026-11 is a reapplication of an existing SUP for RJ Farms, generally located at 21985 Cantrell Road. They anticipate doing 15 events a year. We retained virtually all of the same conditions that were approved in the last cycle, with the exception of two. The Planning Commission wanted, three. The Planning Commission wanted to change conditions 1, 6, and 20. They wanted the first condition, you had placed a $10 million liability policy on this previous SUP. They want that reduced back to a $1 million policy, as is common in most SUPs. Number 6, they wanted a 5-year term versus a 3-year term. And 20, they wanted a licensed veterinarian on site at all times during any rodeo event. That was their stipulations. Changes to those 3 criteria.
John, was the permit this time just for a year?
Well, they've recommended 5.
Yeah, but what did we just come off of?
1.
Okay.
So my understanding is, although we approved a 1 year, that there were no events during that year. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So it makes it a little difficult to measure when we haven't had any events.
Yes, I would agree.
Questions from the board? Mr. Reed?
None.
Mr. Culberson? Nothing. I do have a couple questions. Mr. Jay, could you come up?
Aurelio Hart.
I don't want to slaughter your name. Do you charge for donors at the events?
That's a whole reason we are here doing the application. Because if we put an event, we can make, according to the law, we can make any parties, personal parties, on our event without a permit.
So what do you charge?
It all depends.
You don't charge a certain
It all depends the event.
Okay, give me an example.
It could be from $10, $15, $20, $30, $40. Could be anywhere.
Okay.
And another thing, I got this. You guys mentioned that supposedly there's a lot of money on it. How about this? I'll lend you my place so you guys can put an event. So make all that money for free. I'll even help you guys kind of organize it. How's that? But you guys put all the money that you invest. How's that?
I have a couple more questions for you. Do you bring in animals from out of state to perform or exhibit?
Nope.
No animals from out of state?
Nope.
The animals that you do exhibit, are they in compliance with all the laws as far as a horse doing a Coggins test and all the other rules and regulations that are currently in effect by the USDA and the Veterinarian Association?
In that case, I lease the animals when I do an event. In that case, you have to ask the owner, because I don't own him. He's the one responsible. He's leasing.
So what is your answer? You're not sure?
Well,
it's according to the owners?
From the owners, and according, I kind of did that research. According to the law in Kansas City, if you're transporting animals I mean, in Kansas City, you don't need any paperwork.
Is that your position, that
Well,
if
that's
you
what I-
transport
that's what I-
animals in
No,
the
it's not
Kansas
my
City area,
position. No, sir.
you don't need any paperwork?
It's not my position. I read something on internet that says, unless you're trespassing the borderline. That's,
Okay.
I mean, it's not my position. It's just something I read. Let's don't misunderstand.
Okay, so what is the practice? Is the practice that you have the paperwork when the animals come, the certifications that are required by the USDA and the veterinarian rules, or do you not have that paperwork?
You have to ask the owner of the animals.
You're the gentleman that's in charge of the rodeo, correct?
So, and then who leases the animals, I mean, they're responsible for their animals, right? I don't have no cattle. I have horses. I have goats. I have horses. I got chickens. I got peacocks. I got animals on my farm.
But when we have the gentleman here from the fair, and he talks about the fair rodeo, and he comes to the podium and he says that we follow the PRCA rules, can you say that you follow the PRCA rules?
Well, they have to. I mean, if I remember correct, probably 10, 12 years ago, I leased cattle from Jake, the one that puts the fairgrounds, the one that takes all the horses and the bucking bulls. I mean,
so when you bring an animal in to exhibit,
so if he said that they got the people with the paperwork, then he probably did.
He probably did.
But do you follow the rules?
Like, what do you mean, follow the rules?
Yeah, Chairman asked questions.
Yeah.
He's saying
And
he
you
leases
say-
his animals from the same people that the fair does.
At least one time from him, and I don't always lease from the same person. That's when I make a rodeo.
So okay, boiling it back down to what we just said, you're not sure if they have the paperwork, correct?
Well, I have to.
You're not certain.
I'll have to ask next time when I'm going to do an event. I'll ask him, do you have the paperwork?
But at this time, you're not certain.
I haven't done an event yet.
But the events that you're asking for a special use permit, and you have certainly done events in the past.
I will ask for all the paperwork. I mean,
Okay, but in the past, is that your practice that you get the paperwork? That's all I'm asking.
So, now that you guys are requiring that, yes, I will ask for it.
Okay, I'm just going to move on. Do you?
Could I
Let me
ask
finish
Missy?
my questions, and then you'll have your opportunity. Earlier, the last time we went through the special use permit process, you stated that you do the steer tailing as an event.
Yes.
Do you still do steer tailing as an event?
That's legal in Kansas City.
So I'm just asking you a plain old question. Do you do, at your event, do they do steer tailing?
That's one of the things they do on the charreria.
So the answer is yes?
That's one thing they do on the charreria.
So am I getting that right? Your answer is yes?
Well, if that's what you want to hear, yes.
Well, is that what you do at your event?
I just said that's one of the things they do in charreria.
Okay, that's all I'm asking. If you had one event, if you had no events last year, my question would be, why can't we boil this down and just do temporary special use permits as you need them for individual events? Why do we need to approve a 15 event special use permit when you didn't do any events last year at all?
Okay. Come through all this hassle again. Last year, you guys, mistreated us as a person, as human rights. They even call us some weird name. You guys actually, first time on Leavenworth County, that you guys actually set up another hearing and did not approve it and approve it. You guys went over the wall with all this. I like my town. I like my county. That's why I don't take legal actions, because I don't want to get involved in my town in something like that. But the person last year that was involved in all this because supposedly I was doing so much wrong things, she did sue you guys. I saw the paperwork. And the funny thing is, do I want to go through all this again? All the time? Spend all that money? Just to see, okay, you make me spend so much money and maybe say, oh, maybe we will give you the permit. Oh, maybe we won't. But I already spent money on it. If you guys were to say, yeah, do this, this, and this, and we approve it, it's a different story. But it doesn't happen like that. All the time, we want this, we want that, we want that. Even if there are not regulations on Leavenworth County. But it's still, I brought them, I give you everything. You guys make me widen my road, my entry.
John, if it's a special use permit that's temporary, is that handled in-house?
A temporary special use permit of this type could theoretically come back to the board for approval. It would be a class 3 or 4. I would have to take a look at it. That requires board approval. But you can only do up to 3 events a year.
Up to 3. So anyway, my question was, since you didn't do any events, I don't know why we need to approve 15 events. So anyway, I'll move on to Commissioner Dollar.
I'm perplexed as to why you couldn't answer the question that the chairman gave you and gave a simple yes or no. And so that's I'm just trying to find out why you can't give a simple yes or no to a question. Do you do any events that would include horse pulling a tail on an animal?
I'm sorry, not to be rude. Can you speak a little bit louder? I can't understand here. Sorry not to be rude or anything.
Sorry, but could you give a yes or no to the commissioner's answers? And you did not give a yes or no. And I'm really confused as to why you can't say yes, I do, or no, I do not. The answer to the question, and maybe I need my hearing checked again, is that do you do horse tripping?
No.
And steer tilling.
Steer
tilling is legal in Kansas City.
That's not the question. Do you do steer tailing in?
That is part of one of the charreria things that we do in all around the United States.
Is that not illegal?
No.
Do steer tailing?
It should be. Steer tailing is not illegal in the state of Kansas.
Is it animal cruelty?
Yes.
So and then bulldogging is it's animal cruelty too. It's the same thing.
The answer is yes, correct?
I'm finished.
It's one of the things that we do on charity.
Commissioner Reed.
Misty, could I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
So in the case of Mr. Harrow's SUP, is it the board's job to regulate who he leases his animals from?
No, he can lease his animals from anyone as long as he complies with state and local law. So when the animals are being provided, I believe state law through the Department of Ag regulates provisions in there about the Coggins test and the various paperwork.
So if I understand correctly, he's relying on who he's using for leasing to make sure that they follow state laws.
It sounds that way, and then if he's hosting an event, he would have the obligation to comply with state law and make sure the paperwork is in order.
Okay. And then, since steer tailing is legal in the state of Kansas, am I correct about that?
I know it's a cause for much debate. We can all agree that horse tripping is illegal. State law explicitly sets it out. From the way I read the statute, in my opinion, is it does not explicitly. Okay, I'm going to give this simple answer. In my opinion, steer tail pulling is legal. I'm not saying whether or not it is animal cruelty. In order for it to be illegal under the statute as currently drafted, you would have to say the intent of the act is to harm the animal.
So can the board have the SUP exclude steer tailing since it's not outlawed in the state of Kansas?
The board could have a condition in there to outlaw it. I know other counties, mainly Sedgwick County, we had a draft resolution on animal cruelty where we had a work session, and I've met with a couple people, and that does include in this local provision to make steer tail pulling illegal. So if we have the power to make it illegal locally, I do believe we could include that as a condition of a special use permit, that you can't do steer tail pulling.
So you don't believe that we would potentially end up in like losing a legal battle if we try to take a step that the state hasn't taken?
You know, I hate to speculate on what the court would do. Anybody can sue us, whether I think they have a meritorious case or not. It puts us into a gray area, but I think we could have that as a provision. Ideally, we would proceed with our own local animal cruelty resolution if that's something this body wanted to do. I just remind everyone, it does state in the special use permit that one of the conditions is complying with state, local, federal law, all laws. You know, if the county attorney, like right now, I can't prosecute any type of animal cruelty case. We don't have animal cruelty jurisdiction at this time. Just basic things. So if the county attorney's office thought that steer tail pulling was illegal and made that interpretation, then at this moment, he could go out and prosecute that if he felt it met the standards set out in state statute.
Missy, does counties have home rule?
We do have some home rule powers, not as much as
Would
cities.
this fall into it as far as you can expand and take out what Vanessa was saying to be able to use that in this situation?
As part of a special use permit, or like I think, you know, if we are going to do this uniformly, we need to be uniform in it. If that's a special condition for this rodeo, it has to be a special condition for all rodeos. I think it's cleaner to look at a local resolution at animal cruelty than doing piecemeal conditions on a special use permit.
Do we know if they do anything similar to that, like at the county fair rodeos and things? Is there any similar practice or not?
I am not sure in this county if they are PCRA, if they're following the PRC standards, then it would not allow it at this local level. I did inquire with the sheriff of Wyandotte County this week to ask if they were having any of these types of issues. I don't have a clear answer one way or the other if they're doing it in other counties.
So we aren't able to say, or are we able to say as this board that we want those standards followed across the board with any rodeos in Leavenworth counties or not?
So I think I'm going to make sure I understand the question. You're asking if we can require as part of a condition of a special use permit if they comply with the PRC standards. I think you could also put that as a special condition.
Mr. Colbert.
No, I asked mine.
So, just a clarification, it was testified by Mr. Todd, who, what's your position on are you president or are you vice president?
I'm currently the secretary of the board, and over all the years that we've done rodeos, we follow the PRCA guidelines. The contractor he's referenced that we have used in the past, he is sanctioned. They call it sanctioned by the different rodeo cowboy associations. In order to have that sanction, he has to follow all the guidelines.
All right, so the fair does follow PRCA. So very good. I know we've been working on an animal cruelty ordinance or resolution for a better part of a year. Would it be better to get that animal cruelty ordinance in place and then to revisit this decision once that's in place?
Well, I want to be clear. We cannot delay Mr. Harrow's application for an SUP based on us acting in the future regarding the animal cruelty resolution.
So we would have to insert it into our SUP in order to control that particular item.
Even if this body approved the SUP, and local law changed in the future, Mr. Haro would still have to comply with local law, even as it changes. We all do. If the speed limit changes, we have to adjust our activities. So changing it, if we draft an animal cruelty resolution that specifically sets out that certain events are illegal, or you have to comply with PRCA for rodeo events, he would have to adjust his practices to match that in order to be in compliance with the special use permit.
Okay. Mr. Dove. Mr. Reed.
So as I understand it, basically the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, like we've been talking about, the PRCA does, through its restrictions, limit, I guess would be an appropriate word, traditional Mexican rodeo events. And so I think it's a question for this board, as far as I understand it. If we are trying to send a message of embracing Hispanic culture in these sports, or if we are trying to ask them to maintain, the stricter livestock welfare regulations of the PRCA, I think that how we decide on this is just sending a message either way. The horse tripping is the largest thing that I was aware of. The steer tailing we debated last time this went through, and here we are again. And if it was really important to this board, I don't understand why no one pursued this animal cruelty in the last year, as you clearly stated. So it's a perplexion to me.
Mr. Culberson.
How is a vet supposed to work in this SUP? Is a veterinarian supposed to be there during the whole event?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're making this harder than it is. If the vet's supposed to be there, if you would agree to no horse tripping and no bull tilling, is that doable? Because that's the only complaints I've heard about.
Like I said, we all focus on rodeos. That's not my main thing. I mean, the cattle's too expensive. You spend a lot of money. You don't make money. But like I said, I mean.
And you agreed to have a vet there.
Yeah, if I do a rodeo, yeah. But
so it would not hurt your business if we make it a condition for no steer tailing.
That's one of there's 9 things we do in the charreria, so that's one of the things that, I mean.
It's a compromise. I get it, but we're trying to get this figured out.
So it would hurt your business?
Well, probably not. Probably yes. I mean, I don't
I'm
make
sure.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Thank you.
You ready for a motion?
Yeah. If I could make a suggestion, instead of just saying the steer tailing, maybe you just say the we will comply with the PRCA rules. That would incorporate the steer tailing.
What else is involved in that?
I got a question. So basically, if I sign up for the Cowboy Association, how Leavenworth County has the application, if I sign in and get that application and go through that, so I won't have no problem like I'm having right now?
Get sanctioned? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if he joins the
I
PRCA.
can't pronounce what he said. I mean, sorry, my English is not.
Sanction. It's called sanction.
Yeah, I mean, it's an application that you fill in and, I mean, kind of come out.
Yes, you would not have you would be doing what the fair does.
Okay, so it's just if I want to not have all these problems here, like what we're having, because this is not I mean, it's only one person, that's it. But I mean,
we don't have to fix all of it.
Not sure. It just would be, if not,
Thank you.
Dave's got something too.
I mean, if
He wants to add from the fair board.
Come on up to the podium, Dave.
I just want to clarify, when the county fair does a rodeo, we hire the contractor, he does the rodeo. We don't do the rodeo. So everything falls under his umbrella, his sanction, his insurance, a lot of these things. Now, we carry extra insurance as well, but I think if you just lease the stock from the contractor and then you're putting on the rodeo yourself, it's not truly sanctioned
Event.
under the PRCA rules. So I
And
just
that's-
want to clarify
and that's what I
that.
was getting to. You don't
When
add
we
that
do
in
it, we hire the guy, it's his deal.
Because that will affect the fair as well.
Yes, yes. So that's how we
Unilaterally.
do it. We hire the man to run the whole show and they're under his sanction.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm sorry. It's not that what I just earlier said.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, go ahead, Joe.
Are you ready for a motion?
Yeah, and we can have a little more discussion.
I'm concerned about the steer killing and that's
So see if this
take it out.
see if this takes care of that.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to, the request for a special use permit complies with the golden factors and move to adopt resolution 2026-11 and conditionally approve the special use permit as outlined in case DV 26057 based on recommendations and conditions of the Planning Commission and the findings as set forth in the staff report, subject to the following additional conditions. And the additional conditions I wanted to make was no horse tripping, even though that's already illegal, it's been determined. But no horse tripping, no bull selling for this event. And the vet's already taken care of. So those
What
two,
about
those two
making it 1 year, since this last one was 1 year?
I wasn't going to do that because
We didn't have any events last year, so it's hard, if we're going to give them 5 years, we didn't have any events, I think.
Commissioners, I do want to just note something. The Planning Commission did 3 years, so it's 3, not 5.
Okay.
There was a debate amongst it, and I went to check the resolution, so it's currently for 3 years.
and I felt
Okay.
3 was in the middle between 1 and 5. So I wasn't going to add that.
Yeah.
So, comments, Commissioner Reed?
No.
Mr. Culverson, comments?
I think most of my concerns.
2 things. I think that the insurance amount should remain at what it was last time. I don't think we should reduce that to $1 million. And since the previous 1 year, there were no events during that year, it's hard to tell whether things were followed or not because there were no events. Right. So why would we extend it from 1 year to 3 years? I think it should be 1 year. And then we can come back and measure whether things were done correctly. And then my further comment is I'm a little bit of a quandary here whether this addresses the issue of the animals that are coming in from out of state or the animals that are being brought in from other locations. If we just change this provision, does that address that issue? I might ask the counselor, does that address that issue?
I think the question is how far down do you want to specify whether it's being addressed? Right now, state law requires the owners, I looked at the Department of Ag website, and it says the owners are required to provide the paperwork with the Coggins, and these other incidents, like they're required by state law to do this now, and you're supposed to do it per state law. I don't really know how much clearer to say that they're supposed to do it.
From his answers here, it didn't sound like he had any kind of paperwork.
Well, it's been a year since he's done it, and so I would say.
But it was a state law prior. That was the law before.
I think we are here because he's applied for a special use permit. He is correct that the reason we are here today is there was a code enforcement action, that I filed, and we went to court and discussed it, and the goal of all of that is to become in compliance. So if he wanted to use his property like that, the court agreed that he would need to come and apply. That doesn't mean that you would grant the SUP, but it's his attempt to become in compliance. So
with the presence of the veterinarian on site, does the veterinarian's license require that veterinarian has to follow all the rules, and that would require that all that paperwork be present?
I can safely say if a vet's on site that's licensed, they know that the law that they have to follow. Whether a vet is required to look at Coggins test and papers from out of state, that I do not know.
Yeah, I'm seeing some shaking of head from So,
Is shaking
so
yes
I
or
believe that
no.
would cover it.
So,
And I can have the animal health commissioner send you a note.
So, that's all coming in, Mr. Doe?
No, I think with the additional comments that were made toward that SUP, then it might work.
So I'm getting a little lost in all of this. Was there a second?
Yes, we have a motion on the table.
Who made the second?
I think Mike did.
Mike did.
Okay.
Come on up.
Okay. According to the bed, yes, I do have a bed. Like I said, I went to Strain, which is a facility with a lot of years of experience. They have 3, 4, 5 beds. They treated my horses for so many years. I went and talked to them, and they say they're willing to help me anytime I want. As a matter of fact, they even have the 24-hour emergency call for anybody. So if anybody has animals and don't find a bed during night, they have the 24-hour service.
So,
and I talked to them, and I got their cards, so I can actually, they got a surgery, they got dental, they got everything.
But they'll be on site at this.
On site.
And I talked to them, they're willing to help me and do whatever it takes.
On site.
So that's a requirement of the motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, it looks like that will cover us because all of the paperwork the veterinarian would have to follow all of the rules because they're licensed to maintain.
As long as they're on site.
So, all right, any further comments? So voting, Commissioner
wait,
Reed.
I'm sorry, may I clarify the motion very
Yes.
quickly? So I have a motion to approve with everything that the Planning Commission had adopted for a 3-year term with the addition of specifically no horse tripping and no steer toe pulling. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I
So
know you said-
I'll just make one final comment. I support this really, but I'm going to vote no because I think the insurance should remain at level it was at before, and I also believe that the term should not be 3 years. I believe it should be 1 year. So other than that, I think we've sliced it down to a pretty good compromise.
Not that I want to keep speaking, but just want to remind you that since we are overriding the Planning Commission's recommendation, we'll take a supermajority, which would be 4 of you to vote yes for this motion to pass.
Right.
So, okay, what would the result be of?
Let's find out.
I mean, if
talk this.
let's vote. Commissioner Reed.
Can we have her state what the process will be if it does not pass?
Okay, yes, we can.
If that doesn't pass, then you can entertain another motion. And, there's various processes. You could make a different motion that you could send it back. If you need additional clarification, you could find a motion everybody agreed on. You could, move to deny with 4 as well, as long as you follow the golden factors.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
So now we're there.
Well, what would you like to change, Commissioner Red?
Well, what would you like to see changed?
I'd like to see more verification of the when he receives a animal, that the animal is in good condition. It just doesn't seem fair to bring an animal into the state of Kansas or to any venue that's not healthy.
Are we securing that through the on-site vet?
That's what I thought.
We're securing that
The
through
vet-
the
the
on-site
vet would
vet.
have to do that.
We have that
When
covered.
he secures an animal or when the animal's on premise.
So you want to send it back to the Planning Commission to discuss what the vet's responsibilities are when they're on site at these events?
No, I want to discuss, are we receiving an animal that is in bad condition in the first place?
Because he's hiring.
But that's what has happened.
He's hiring someone for
And-
that service, and that's not his
And that's
business.
my-
It's another
yeah,
business.
We're not
That's
going
my
to do
vote.
this.
Okay.
Let Commissioner Duff give his view.
No, I'm trying to ask, what are we asking for them to do if we send it back to the Planning Commission?
To review their changes that they made, which was the the change in the insurance and the change of the term.
Insurance.
I would, if we leave the insurance at the 10 million level and do this for 1 year, then we just give them 1 year and then this will come back. So I would think that we would be able to judge whether it's working or not.
Yeah, because we didn't have a chance to see if it's working or not. I mean, he didn't do any events. He wants the bond.
Wow.
So I'll make a.
So it needs to be.
Don't let them handle it, don't handle it.
Okay, we're going to. Can I make a motion? Maybe agree or not. I'm going to move that we approve with the conditions that Commissioner Culberson added with the bullet telling. We keep the insurance at $10 million. We make it for a 1-year term. That's my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Which has nothing to do with the animals. Okay.
So is there discussion?
Yeah, I agree with you on the 1-year thing, but 10 million, I've done a lot of insurance contracts over the years of cities and counties, and that's outrageous.
That's a lot.
That's outrageous. I wouldn't have any problem if you brought it up a little bit.
That's unusual.
But 10 million.
That's what it was.
10
Yeah,
million.
that's
What do we put on the fairground in that way?
5 million.
That's
What?
Well, should we vote on this and then we can see if this doesn't pass and do another thing?
We got a second.
So, voting, Commissioner Reed.
I feel like I need to understand what insurance requirement we currently put on the fairground for their rodeos before I can vote on this.
Okay.
It's 1 million.
Is it 1 million that
Most-
the county fairground has for
I'm
insurance?
telling you, most insurance things are 1 million no matter. I'm not
So,
even talking about
They
this.
have lots of animals.
Standard SUPs are 1 million. This was the concern of the Planning Commission. They didn't want to add additional insurance on this particular use.
Because then it's not fair.
It's different than what is normally required from any other SUP.
So are we going to make the fairgrounds come up
So it's different
or not?
than any others.
Yep.
And American World holds their affairs, and it's still 1 million.
Any SUP in Leavenworth County, can't speak to the
It's 1
American
million.
World Department.
So
But yeah.
the last round, though, when this was approved, the amount that was on it was the 10 million because of all the concerns. I think that was the reason that was added. But if you want to have a compromise number,
But we'll compromise.
I think it needs to
We'll
match
do
the
the million.
fairground.
I think a million is the right thing. It's what we asked
in 1
everybody
year.
else.
okay,
Agreed.
million in 1 year. Okay.
Million and
So
1
I'll
year.
withdraw my motion, and you withdraw your second.
I'll throw a second.
I make the motion with the changing the insurance to 1 million and then the term of 1 year.
I agree.
Okay, that's the motion. Further discussion. Right? You got it.
Oh, yeah.
Commissioners.
Okay.
Is there further discussion?
I don't like the 1 year.
Commissioner, I just want to clarify, your motion is to approve it as long as there's no horse tripping, no bull or steer tail pulling, a 1-year term, and you're leaving the $1 million recommendation on the insurance.
Correct.
Okay.
That's the compromise. So, any further comments? Commissioner Reed,
No.
Mr. Culberson.
Don't do it to us, Jeff. Don't you do this.
I don't agree on the 1 year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of effort, and it's
Yeah.
a lot of money to put up, and it's
Let's
a
call
lot
it
of
That is
wise.
anti-business.
to go through.
Let's do 2 years then. Let's try to get somewhere we can work.
Let's
Three
finish-
was
hold
the
on,
middle.
hold on.
It was
Wait,
5
Hold on.
to 3.
Let's finish the vote, and
I
then
think we have
we'll
a
come
vote.
back. So how do you vote,
No.
Commissioner?
Yes.
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 So it still
Fails.
fails.
Let's go.
So we'll do a motion.
How about 2 years?
2 years.
Okay.
Okay.
2 years.
So I have same motion, 2-year term. You second the motion, Commissioner?
I'll say that.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Please no.
Commissioner Reed.
No.
Don't want to be unfair.
Commissioner Culberson.
Yes.
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 All right. Thank you.
Goodness gracious.
Okay. How about a 5-minute break?
Good to see you, John.
Where are we actually at?
Got a small victory.
Yeah.
We have to have an executive session.
No, we already have.
Counselor,
Misty,
Misty,
we don't need
any more
executive
executive sessions?
Okay.
All right, so we are at the presentations. Commissioner Reed. We're not taking it. Ladies and gentlemen, we just have one last thing to finish, so I'm going to go ahead and leave us in session for a minute, if that's okay.
Yeah, we'll have public
Just,
comment.
yeah. So, presentation, Commissioner Reed.
None.
Sarah, did you have something?
It's just going to go to you after the presentation.
I got one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Just a reminder, in Lansing on Thursday, they'll have the 4th of July celebration, Independence Day. It's from 4 to 10 at Lansing High School. It's always a big turnout. Please come out there. I'm sure you'll have a good time. That's all I have, Mike.
And I'm going to the Eastern Parade. I'm looking forward to it. Is your band playing?
Yep.
All right.
I'll see you down there.
Mr. Duff.
Don't have anything.
All right, and we will have public comment. Come on down.
All your veterinarians are driving up now.
What's that?
Hi, Commissioners. Thank you again for hearing me. I had just wanted to say, in the times that I have been here, seeing all of you deliberate carefully about issues and try to find compromise, I imagine that it is extremely difficult for you to try to make a balanced decision and make it fairly towards all parties, and that's hard. And I appreciate the time and effort that you spend. I think we all do appreciate this deliberative body. I wanted to say that property rights are very important. We as Americans value that. We also value the rule of law, and property rights never are a shield for illegal activity, whether it's child abuse, whether it's human trafficking, or animal abuse. I would also ask that we try to be really careful about our terms when we are talking about what activity is going to be engaged. It's not a rodeo. Do not call it a rodeo. The Professional Cowboy Rodeo Association has stringent standards that they must comply with. This is a spectacle no different than bear baiting, bullfighting, or dog fighting, all of which in many hundreds of years past were considered okay. However, we have been moving the needle in this country and in our society towards a healthy and appropriate way to have a moral society. So, if this spectacle is indeed so valuable, then why don't we have it at the county fairgrounds, where all of its practices can be seen in the light of day in the full face of the public? If you really care about, this, I think it would be great for us to use our very nice county fairgrounds for such a thing. That way everybody can see what actually is happening. I appreciate you and have a good day.
Thank you very much. Further public comments? Mary, come on down.
Okay.
Oh, gee.
You're going to tell us how good of a job we're doing, right?
You guys really, I do love each and every one of you. No, you've done it. You do a nice job. But just a comment about the veterinarian that will be on site. It sounds like we need to make sure that we don't have somebody that's working hand in hand with this rodeo company or this farm. So maybe he knows this group. Makes me kind of wonder, are we going to have, here I go again, are we going to have some favoritism? So when we're thinking about having a veterinary on board, I think that maybe we need to think about switching it out, rotating them or doing something like that. Just not one in particular. That's what I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just make a comment on that. They have a license that they have to defend, and they would be remiss if they played favorites.
Okay, sounds good, yeah. Just checking.
I would say good morning again, but it's almost noon.
I wasn't planning on getting up and speaking. I have a bachelor's of science in agriculture, specializing in animal health. My curiosity on this is, are these events going to be open to the public? Or are they going to be considered private events to where people can go and actually see what's being done on this facility. So that might be something to take in consideration. As you all know, private events can get away with doing random things that they say that they're not doing. But if it's open to the public, then people can come in and actually see it for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further public comments? Come on, Dan.
First of all, I'm very disappointed that the county has continued to allow Aurelio Hero to say one person. He's done it at many of your meetings. And I'm disappointed because the county councilor, planning and zoning, and everybody else should know that in the packet for the first SUP, Tailgate Ranch opposed this. A neighbor next door is the one who brought up property value. But I never hear anybody defend that. It's targeting and it's intimidation. That's the purpose of it. Secondly, Dr. Mernan just got arrested for just speaking in this meeting. And yet, right shortly after that, I heard the people at the very back row speak, and did they get arrested? No. I wanted to clarify something. There were 7 non-SUP events that they did. And I just told you that the sheriff and nobody goes on to comply. So who is going to look at these events? I don't think we've heard that. And yet they have a huge history, and the sheriff hasn't been able to go on in 20 years. Who is going to make sure that they are complying? That's one question. I want to say something too. After those 6 or 7 non-SUP events, guess what? I was told, again, that they were working on withdrawing this. And I'm not sure why we're even here if you've already made up your mind. Because that's what we were told. I wrote about property rights. We couldn't hear our grandchildren because they were playing their music so loud. And we live a mile away. And I've written stacks and stacks and documented to the county. We have property rights too. So you guys denied. They had these non-SUP events after years of having these events. And what do? You say you want them to enjoy their property. You're on record saying that. Planning and zoning has told me that. And yet, so the next step was to remove this code and have them have a TSUP. And I think this was back in 24. They didn't have that event. But you guys didn't seem to care. You passed so they could go on to have an SUP for 15 events. I lived right by there. I hired an agent. We know they did not have that first event, and we told you that. So there was no record of them having a good TSUP event so they could have these 15. So I want that noted. I want to say about this private and public events, because on April 16th, 2022, I asked one of the commissioners to come out, and he was asked to pay $40. I asked a deputy to come out, and Hayro told him, he asked if there was a charge to enter. Hayro tells the deputy no, after he's just tried to charge a commissioner. Nope, they're pooling money. That's what they do. That's when they're saying they're going to do private and family events. They've done this for years. I have documentation. I'm not sure why everybody else has been ignored. And nothing, by the way, was reported by the deputy. In terms of horse roping, this is taken off their site, and that has been in your packets before. This is horse roping on their item. This is steer tail pulling and horse roping. Photos by Leesa. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there more final public comment before we adjourn? All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. We're adjourned.
Ba-da-ba-da.